Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Drake again. As you know, him and Party Next Door's album came out, Some Sexy Songs for You. It debuted at the #1 spot in over 50 countries. And despite having some controversy surrounding the album's artwork and promotional materials, like accusations of plagiarism, the album has received a relatively positive response from all of the fans out there. And it is performing well on all streaming platforms right now. This is Drake's first full release since the entire beef with Kendrick Lamar happened. And yes, I have went and listened to it a couple of times, and I do think it is a solid release. This feels like a Drake project, even though obviously it is a collab album with PND. It feels like a Drake project. It reached the #1 spot on the charts faster than any other project that has been released this year. Granted, it's only February, but there have been some projects released this year. This is the fastest moving one, and I think, you know, The Weeknd dropped, Lil Baby drop. There's been people drop. So overall, this album has been a success so far, which is expected because it's coming right after the beef with Kendrick Lamar. And despite what everybody thinks, Drake is still a massive artist that has a ton of fans. So for it to be moving this fast is expected. Now, when this album first came out, I was thinking to myself, okay, this is Drake pretty much taking the advice of everybody who's been talking. If you remember correctly, Kendrick Lamar said, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he's acting tough, and this album is a whole bunch of non-tough stuff. This is R&B love making Drake right here. And at first glance, that's what it seemed like maybe Drake took everybody's advice. But there are a couple of songs on here where he does mention people. He mentions Melissa Ford. He has a song on there where he takes shots at Joe Budden. There are a few with bars like that on there. But overall, it does seem that he was in his R&B bag, which is the bag that everybody said he should go and stay in. However, something interesting has happened since Drake released this project. See, when this album first came out, there was this pre-written description for it on Apple Music. I don't know if this was written by the label or somebody on Drake's team, or if this is written by somebody at Apple. But somebody wrote this description, and we'll get into what it says here in just a second. But within 24 hours of it being released, Drake went into his Apple Music artist account and he updated this description with a kind of cryptic message that some people are saying is a shot at Kendrick Lamar. Anyways, the original description said, on the cover of Some Sexy Songs for You, we see Party Next Door and Drake tricked out in furry winter gear, posing in front of a pair of buildings that'll be familiar to anyone who's ever driven past PND's hometown of Mississauga on the western fringe of Toronto. Now, the Absolute World high-rise condos may not be an internationally recognized landmark on par with the CN Tower, which Drake famously graced in Drake's 2016 blockbuster Views, but it's a fitting visual emblem of the more low stakes, bringing it all back home ethos that defines their first full-length album. Even your grandma knows that 2024 was a rough year for Drake, so in that sense, Mississauga represents a proverbial safe space where he can recalibrate and experiment outside the limelight alongside a loyal protege who stood by his side through thick and thin. As you can see, this is an interesting description that we're reading right here. I like how they clarified why he was standing in front of these specific towers, because yesterday we covered the guy who said that they plagiarized this idea from him, right? He spoke on that, or whoever wrote this spoke on that. They talked about 2024 being a rough year for Drake and that he needed to recalibrate and experiment outside the limelight. It's interesting. It continues. It says Some Sexy Songs for You was originally advertised as an EP to be released on Valentine's Day 2025, but at 21 tracks and 75 minutes, it's more like getting a gift box of chocolates and discovering there are 3 more layers underneath. At the outset, the duo's approach is to pretend 2024 never happened and lean into the singular combination of sensitivity, swagger, and hyper-local referentialism that turned OVO into an R&B empire in the 2010s. Atmospheric tracks like CN Tower and Something About You unfurl like late-night DM threads, taking us inside the fragile psyches of celebrity rappers who pick up their dates in private jets and get them to sign NDAs. Bro, this description is weird. Yet, as PND testifies on Lasers, still get easily triggered when they see an ex-boyfriend's name tattooed on the back of their neck when they're getting them back shots. Yo, what in the... This description is wild. It says the question of whether Drake will use this platform to air out his grievances is settled partway through the album on the pugilistic Gimme a Hug, where he comes out swinging at his fair weather followers, but stops short of getting back in the ring when he declares, "Off a rap beef, I'm trying to get the party lit." And from that point on, he stays true to his word, displaying the charm, humor, and trend-spotting savvy that made him a star far beyond the rap realm. Some Sexy Songs for You really starts to live up to its title with the playful Spanglish seduction of Meet Your Padre, a collaboration with Chino Pacas that sounds like a regional Mexican spin on One Dance, while Delirious Nokia sees Drake and PND dropping rhymes over a shape-shifting 80s electro beat like an OVO Outcast. But perhaps the biggest surprise arrives in the form of Die Trying, an irresistibly melodic confessional that's part of a piece with acoustic alt-pop anthems like Post Malone Circles and Claro's Bags, and which suggests the most effective way to move beyond a rap beef is to move beyond rap entirely, right? Now there's a lot to digest right there in that, and again, I don't know who wrote this. This could have been Drake that wrote this originally, but this was the original description of the album on Apple Music. And I think probably the biggest takeaway from that was that in this description, it's acknowledged that Drake had a bad 2024. It hits on the fact that he's kind of moved outside of rap entirely before, and then it suggests that, quotes, the most effective way to move beyond a rap beef is to move beyond rap entirely. And I think that that is super interesting, but that's the original description. I think some of it was weird, like the getting people to sign NDAs. That's weird to put in an album description. I think it's interesting that he said the intention with this album was to just act like 2024 never happened at all. Anyways, this description would actually get updated to this right here, which is very short, and we know that this is coming directly from Drake because it says a note from the artist, right? And this new description says Some Sexy Songs for You is 74 personal minutes by Party Next Door and Drake for the city of Toronto, for Canada, and for the world that has turned into this sound of ours from time. OVO, OMO, Farina. And then it's got this quote right here that says, "Maybe it was karma that caused a reversal in my luck and my family fortunes." And then it has a dash like it's signed, "You most likely in the near future." So he's saying that that quote is somebody else most likely in the near future. And this is what people are saying could be a shot at Kendrick Lamar just because of the way it's worded. Think about what it says. Maybe it was karma that caused a reversal in my luck and my family fortunes. And he's saying that somebody else is going to be saying that in the near future. Maybe he's talking about Kendrick Lamar. We know he spent a lot of time on his diss tracks talking about Kendrick Lamar's family, right? And people are saying this could be Drake saying that because of the run that Kendrick Lamar just had, and it kind of was off of the back of him disrespecting and dissing Drake on them records, that karma will catch up with him and that might change his luck and his family fortunes. But it doesn't have anybody's name here. We know that Drake has pretty much been dissing everybody that's had something to say about him except for Kendrick. So I don't know. It's a pretty cryptic message that he has switched it to. It's a weird place to make this statement because hardly nobody is looking at the description of the album on Apple Music, right? And I just thought it was noteworthy. Y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about it in the comments down below. Anyways, that's basically it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.